I'm Robert, Cook Saw Manufacturing. I want to show you our board edger. This particular model is our AE4P, which is also our most popular option. We have gas, electric, and diesel options available, portable and stationary. This AE4P has a 38 horsepower Kohler gas engine. It's got 14-inch blades able to cut 4 inches thick. We've got an AE2P with a smaller gas engine, 12-inch blades able to cut 3 inches thick. Our electric, we've got a 20 horsepower 3-phase motor that it does come standard as stationary, running 14-inch blades on it. Power-wise would compare with the gas engine here. And then I've got a 15 horsepower 3-phase that's going to have our 12-inch blades able to cut 3 inches as well. And then we've got a diesel. We're using a 35 horsepower Yanmar diesel. It's got our 14-inch blades able to cut 4 inches thick. So same basic machine, different power options, different blade sizes, which gives us different thicknesses of cut. But a couple options there. Give us a call. We'll help you decide what's going to work best for you on that. We'll look at some of the features on the machine. So on all of our board edgers, we are using split strobe saw blades. So what that means is whenever you go to change a blade, they come apart in 2 pieces. There's 4 bolts, a collar, so I can easily pull that off, put a new blade on. I don't have to go through my alignment. So if you've been around some older edgers and you've got to take the whole shaft out to get a new blade back in place, you've got to readjust, realign the machine. Using the split strobe saw blades, I guess we bypassed that, so it makes it very easy to get into our blades and change those out. Now they are carbide tipped, so they can be re-tipped, they can be resharpened, and we get good life out of it. A lot of it depends on what you're cutting, how you're cutting. If I'm doing a 1-inch green pine versus 3-inch dried oak, of course there's a difference in life there. So I get good life out of those blades. And being split strobe, it makes it very easy to change those out, not losing any downtime and keep things moving. So we're using 1 stationary blade and 1 movable blade. Stationary blade, of course, is fixed on the shaft, and I've got some guides will show you how that lines up. Movable blade is set on a collar, and I've got a key on the shaft. That collar is going inside of a bearing that's mounted to a housing, and that housing is pulled back and forth by chain. So I've got 2 chains pulling that back and forth, so it keeps that blade even. It's not twisting, it's not torquing on me. So when I'm lining that blade up, I can quickly go to my number for the width of the board that I'm cutting, and I don't have to worry about it moving on me and causing that banana cut that you've seen on some other machines. So very easy to operate, very simple setup, but allows that blade to track freely, it doesn't bind, and it's always going to be accurate. So with our stationary blade, I've got 2 fences. One is for a straight edge, one is for a live edge, or a board that's got some wane on it. So the top one will pivot over, so I can bring it over, and that's going to be in line with my blade. So I'll set my board underneath there, and I can judge and see exactly where that blade's going to enter into the wood, position it where I need it to be to prevent loss on my cut. My bottom fence is going to hinge in and out, and I've got 7 inches to the outside of that blade that I can cut. So that live edge piece goes under here, track it, push it where it needs to be. If I've got a board that already has that square edge on it, I can cut 7 inches to the outside of that blade, just pushing the board up against this fence here. I can bring it all the way in, push it up there, and that blade's just going to barely nick the edge of the wood as it goes through, just to kind of straighten that up, put a good clean line on it. And if I had some problem maybe with my sawmill, I got a blade duel or something and it's got a little bit of movement on it, if you're having that problem, give me a call. But I can set that out maybe a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch, whatever I need to be, so we can trim that edge and get it nice and straight. Now my scales, I've got my crank handle here. This is moving the chain that's taking our movable blade in and out. So it's on a long shaft, sprockets and chain, very, very accurate, very simple. But I've got a scale and a pointer, so I can move that in and out. So if I want to set it up on 8 inches here, and I've got a T-handle lock it in, so if I'm going to be there for a good bit of boards going through, I can lock it in and it keeps any kind of vibration, or if I bump it, keeps me on track, keeps it from moving out of alignment there. And I'll run those boards through one after the next, and it's going to be 8 inches. It's rough cut, but it's going to be tape measure accurate, and it's going to have 2 straight edges on that board. So along with our blades and how we're moving those in and out, to help track that board through the machine straight, we're using rough top belts. It's a 2-ply belt, so I get good life out of that. That belt's going to hold that board and it's going to pull it through. We've got a heavy roller that's going to be on the in-feed and the out-feed that pushes down on it. So if you've been around some of the older edgers that have rollers on it, you've seen that board kind of come through and it'll kind of banana off to the side. That belt tracks that wood and keeps it straight. So I don't have that soft or I guess hard surface that it's able to slide in and out on. So we really like the belt system. Rough top belt in feed and out feed side, heavy rollers on both sides to hold that down, track it straight. Very simple design, very easy to maintain, and it keeps my boards true. Now we're using a flow control valve, and that'll adjust the speed. We're able to get, well, and shut it all the way off, so 0 to about 100 foot a minute running through. Now the machine's able to do 4 inches thick. I'm gonna be hard pressed to run 100 foot a minute on 4 inches thick wood. Maybe if it's cedar or something, we could do it. But generally, I've adjust the speed, listen to the sound of the engine to know how to push it. If I'm 2 inches or under, I'm pretty much wide open. I've got a lot of power on there, good cutting blades. We can get a lot of work done with that machine. But I adjust my speed here with the flow control valve. That is controlling our hydraulic motor. Hydraulic motor is turning 60 chain. That 60 chains go into our drive rollers on the belt, and it's pulling them in sync. So very heavy setup, very little maintenance, if at all. 60 chain lasts a long time. It's heavy enough. I get a splinter of wood in there, it just kind of takes care of itself. So good service out of that, easy to operate, easy to use. When I go to operation, I've got 2 idle rollers. That kind of helps me track, position my board till it gets to that belt catches it, pulls the board through. On the back side of the machine, our exit side more, I've got 2 rollers here. So plenty of room to work. On top of the machine, I've got 2 rollers. So if I'm running a board through and I want to push it back through, so if I'm cutting, say I've got 1x12s and I want to cut into 3.5 inch pieces. I'll make 2 passes or 2 cuts on 1 pass, and then I can take the rest of that board. If I've got a second operator, it really helps out, but I can feed that board back through, back to the in-feed side, and I can keep running boards through. So my guy back here is feeding, my guy on the in-feed side is just constantly feeding boards through. My worker on the out-feed side, he's stacking and then feed it back to me. And between 2 guys, 10,000 board foot a day is very reasonable to run through this edger. A lot of that depends on how thick the wood is, how wide it is, but that would be a reasonable, achievable number. So I'm trying to give you a mix of wood. We got some long boards that we're able to run through it. So we've got some thicker boards, that's some hardwood there. We had some warped boards that were bowing and going all kind of crazy. Wood's gonna move. You cut it off of your sawmill, you let it dry, wood moves, it's what it does, it's alive. I can let that board dry and I can come back and run it through the edger and I can cut it straight. Now I've got a good product I can work with. I can cut it green off the sawmill. So depending on what you're doing, how you're using it, a lot of different methods on that. Green or dry, doesn't matter, I can cut it straight. So very useful tool, saves you a lot of time on that sawmill. If you're edging on a sawmill, taking the boards off, putting them back on, flipping them upright, trying to get 5 or 6 boards together, rotate them all around. Hydraulic turner can do it. It's aggravating, it's time consuming, it puts you in a bad mood. I can run on that edger, I'll run at least 30% more production than I can with just a sawmill alone. So very useful tool, does a great job. Just want to show you couple of the boards. If you've got any questions about the machine, give me a call. We'd love to talk to you about one, set you up. If you're looking for a sawmill, we can set you up there on a whole package deal. But we appreciate you watching the video. If you would, like, subscribe, comment, we do appreciate it.